He never spoke, never smiled. Every Friday, the trucker sat alone in the same booth, lost in silence and memory, until a 6-year-old girl left a folded napkin beside his plate. What she wrote shattered something deep inside him, but also lit a spark he thought was gone forever. That one small gesture didn't just touch his heart, it brought him back to life. And what followed, no one saw coming. Every Friday evening, the doorbell above the diner's entrance gave the same soft jingle. And every Friday, without fail, Ben Carter walked in. Same boots, same flannel jacket, same quiet nod to the waitress who knew not to ask questions. He'd slide into the corner booth near the window, set his cap beside his plate, and order black coffee with a side of nothing much. People called him Ghost Driver, not because he looked like one, but because he acted like one. Present, but distant, like he existed in two places at once, here in this small-town diner, and somewhere else far away. No one really knew where Ben came from or where he went. He never stayed long. He'd sip his coffee slowly, eat just enough to say he did, leave a 20 under the mug, and walk out. The only thing that lingered was the silence he carried with him like a shadow. Then one quiet evening, everything changed. A young mother walked in with her daughter, a giggly 6-year-old in a pink hoodie with wide, curious eyes. They took the booth next to Ben's, and while the mother chatted with the waitress, the little girl, Lily, kept peeking over the booth wall. At first, Ben pretended not to notice. He stared at the salt shaker, the ceiling fan, anything else. But the girl's gaze was too genuine, too direct. Finally, Lily whispered something to her mom, who gave a soft nod. Then, without a word, Lily got up, holding a neatly folded napkin in both hands. She walked over to Ben's table, placed the napkin next to his plate, smiled, just warm, not playful or shy, and skipped back to her booth. Ben stared at the napkin for a long moment before unfolding it. Crayon letters, messy but careful, filled the center. "You look like you miss someone. Don't be sad. She misses you too." He didn't finish his coffee. He didn't say a word. He just stood, eyes misting, hands trembling, and walked out into the night. Ben drove that night like he always did when the ache returned. Hard, fast, endless. The napkin sat folded in the glove box, but its words burned through every mile. "You look like you miss someone." He hadn't heard words like that in years, not since the accident. Back then, life was small and good. A modest house, a warm kitchen, and a little girl named Emily who chased Bubbles barefoot through the backyard. Emily had just turned 6. Her giggle in the back seat, the sudden curve, the headlights. Then nothing. When Ben woke up in the hospital, the world had ended. Emily was gone. His wife sat beside him, shattered but silent. He never forgave himself. He was behind the wheel. He should have seen the turn, should have slowed down. He tried therapy, prayer, forgetting. None of it worked. So he turned to the road. Endless highways became his only peace. Truck stops, gas stations, loading docks. He kept moving, kept running from the face of the girl who once called him daddy. But Lily's napkin cracked something open. How did she know? How could a child see so much? That night, Ben pulled over on a quiet highway, opened the glove box, and held the napkin like it was glass. Then he wept into his hands for the first time in a decade. Not the kind of cry that shakes the shoulders, the kind that caves in your chest. And somewhere between the sobs and the moonlight, he whispered his daughter's name, Emily. He stayed there until morning. Then, with trembling hands and a heart finally stirred awake, Ben turned the rig around. He was going back. The next Friday, just after sundown, the diner's bell rang again. Ben's steps were slower, more deliberate. Lily and her mother weren't there yet. He took his usual seat, but everything felt different, like the world had shifted. The waitress, Jean, noticed immediately. For years she'd served him the same coffee with the same silence. But now she paused. "You all right, Ben?" she asked. He nodded, then did something he hadn't done in over a decade. He spoke. "I'm waiting on someone." Jean blinked. "Anyone I know?" "Maybe." 10 minutes later, Lily and her mother entered. Ben's heart thumped. Lily spotted him instantly and waved. Her mother offered a polite nod, remembering the napkin and the man who folded it like gold. Ben stood, reached into his flannel pocket, and approached them. "Hi," he said. "I wanted to give this to you." He handed a small envelope to Lily's mom. Inside was a laminated photo of a 6-year-old girl with wild curls, missing front teeth, and a sunflower bigger than her head, Emily. Behind it a note. "To Lily, thank you for reminding me that love doesn't die. It just gets quiet sometimes. Her mother covered her mouth, eyes glistening. Ben knelt beside Lily. You helped me remember someone very special. Someone I lost. But thanks to you, I don't feel so lost anymore. Lily leaned forward and hugged him. And in that moment, the dam finally broke. Not in grief, but in relief. For the first time in years, he felt seen, understood, alive. Lily patted the booth beside her. You can sit here if you want. Ben hesitated only a moment before sliding in across from her. The space felt unfamiliar. Not just the booth, but the feeling. Being invited in. There was chocolate milk, a coloring book, and a little girl who treated him like a friend instead of a ghost. Lily chattered happily, pointing out animals she'd drawn in blue crayon. Ben listened, not just with his ears, but with his whole chest. Every word, every glance, every laugh felt like sunlight breaking through the permanent storm. Her mother, Rachel, watched quietly. After a while, she leaned forward. I hope you don't mind. She's like that. Always reaching out. Ben nodded. She reminds me of someone I used to know. She had the same kind of light. There was a pause. Rachel studied him. Was it your daughter? Ben didn't flinch. Emily. She would have been about Lily's age now. It's been 11 years. I lost her in a car accident. My wife left a year later. I never stayed in one place after that. Rachel's voice softened. That kind of pain, it's hard to live with. Ben looked at Lily, now folding a napkin into a heart. It was, until a little girl wrote something on one. Rachel smiled. She surprises me too sometimes, like she knows more than she should. Ben nodded. Sometimes I wonder if Emily sent her. There was no reply. Just quiet. But this time, it wasn't the kind that hurt. As Lily yawned and laid her head in her mother's lap, Ben stood to leave. He placed another 20 beneath his mug and turned back at the door. Next Friday, he said. Same time. Rachel smiled. We will be two. And for the first time in 11 years, Ben walked into the night with something that had once felt impossible. Hope. The next Friday came with golden skies and the first breath of spring. At 6 p.m. sharp, Ben Carter pulled into the diner's gravel lot. He stayed behind the wheel for a long moment, staring into the mirror. The man looking back wasn't the same. His eyes still carried grief, but also peace. Inside, Jean spotted him and smiled. Your table's already taken, she teased. Ben looked to the far booth. Lily waved, her feet kicking beneath the table. Rachel looked up and nodded warmly. He tipped his cap and walked over. Reserved, huh? He asked. Only for you. Lily grinned, pushing a chocolate milk toward him. On the table between them lay another napkin. A stick-figure truck, a little girl, and a big man with a cap and a smile. Underneath, she had written, Now you're not alone anymore. Ben swallowed the lump in his throat. You're something else, kid. They spent the evening laughing, eating, living. At one point, Ben pulled out his wallet, handed Lily a faded photo. She had your eyes, and your kind heart. Lily held it like treasure. She's still with you. Ben nodded. I think I just forgot how to feel her. Rachel placed a hand on his. Then maybe that's what Lily gave back to you. And for the first time in forever, the quiet wasn't heavy. It healed.